All right, many thanks indeed for choosing us tonight. Anne Wangeshi is our sign language interpreter for the night. Let's get right at it. And a crisis is brewing in the counties, with the governors threatening to ground services in 2 weeks to protest budget cuts they claim are meant to cripple devolution. The Council of Governors is breathing fire over a 38.4 billion shilling reduction in county allocations. Well, these funds, they say, have been diverted to the national government. Some counties have reportedly not received any disbursements since January, with total arrears now standing at 78.03 billion shillings. That story begins our coverage tonight on Easy Friday.
The latest financial standoff between the national and county governments stems from the County Government's Additional Allocation Bill 2025. The governors say its passage resulted in a staggering 38.4 billion shillings reduction in funding of counties, further straining essential services.
Kenya shillings 24 billion are conditional grants from donors to support critical county projects in healthcare, agriculture, fisheries, water, roads, slum upgrading and infrastructure development.
This even as counties are already struggling with delayed disbursements.
Kuna counties kuanzia mwezi wa mwaka huu hawajawahi pata mgao wa fedha kutoka kwa Treasury, ile hali sheria inasema kwamba kila mwezi lazima counties zipate mgao wa fedha. Tunapewa tu fedha at the whim of an individual, anaamua kwamba mwezi utapeana fedha, mwezi mwingine sitapeana fedha.
This amounts to 78.03 billion shillings in arrears, which governors warn risk crippling devolved critical operations such as healthcare, infrastructure projects, and donor-funded programs.
Development partners, before they decide to fund a project, it takes about 3 years. And for the World Bank and such institutions, bilateral institutions, they have to go to the board. And then these funds are released with specific timelines and clear outputs. And then we have the national government arbitrarily just waking up one day in the middle of implementing these projects and cuts them. What message are we even sending to the development partners as a country?
The governors accuse the national government of deliberately underfunding counties under the guise of revenue shortfalls while increasing its own allocations. This, they say, disqualifies the blaming of counties for failing to deliver services.
The National Treasury attributes these cuts on the pretext that counties are not able to absorb the additional allocations in this financial year. These fallacious assertions depict how the national government casually handles their devolution agenda.
Governors are now taking a hard stance, threatening to shut down counties if the diverted funds are not reinstated.
We're very, very concerned about this, and we are asking that the national government and the National Treasury, who made the amendments, blatant amendments to the conditional grants from development partners, to immediately reinstate these resources.
We implore the Senate to stand firm with the people of Kenya and the Council of Governors in resisting these unconstitutional budgetary reductions and safeguarding the gains of devolution. In this regard, the Council of Governors demands the immediate restoration of all the diverted funds to county governments to ensure uninterrupted service delivery, failure to which county governments will shut down its services in the next 14 days.
It is now up to the National Treasury to avert the looming crisis in counties ahead of the 14-day ultimatum. Kamchemenza for Easy Friday.
All right, now the government, in partnership with other development partners, has launched a 646.7 billion Kenya shillings food and nutrition resilience program. This is aimed at transforming food security and nutrition in 24 arid and semi-arid lands. This is benefiting 5 million people. The funding is part of the $19 billion budget, which covers 3 other countries, namely Somalia, South Sudan, and Ethiopia, where the program is also being implemented.
The 2020-2023 drought experienced in the country left 6.4 million people suffering from acute food insecurity. While recent rainfall has brought temporary relief, still 1.5 million Kenyans are exposed to hunger, with 946,000 children under the age of 5 years grappling with acute malnutrition.
Having 18% of our children who are stunted, and meaning that even when these children grow to adulthood, their productivity will be diminished. Yes, as a country, we are losing about 7% of our GDP due to child undernutrition. We have already hit 2 million people who are already exposed. They are facing, they're in crisis and they are facing emergency. So if we don't do anything, in 6 months' time, we shall be talking about 2.8 million people, almost hitting 3 million.
The malnutrition burden has forced the government to cough millions of shillings on treatment. Speaking during the launch of Kenya's Food Nutrition and Resilience Program, a 10-year project set to benefit 24 ASAL communities, the director for the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescents, Charles Businge, emphasized the program's significance in tackling climate-induced food crisis.
This is a 10-year program designed to support the Horn of Africa government's zero hunger development goal by addressing the root causes of food insecurity and nutrition.
As a country, it costs us far much more to respond to food security emergencies over the last 10 years or so. We are convinced that putting an investment in prevention, putting an investment in resilience building will make our programs cheaper in the long run.
Director of the Head of Food Production in the State Department for Agriculture, Dr. Mary Mwale, disclosed that the program will ensure equity and inclusion in a society free from hunger and reduced poverty.
Governments of the 4 countries, in particular ministries of agriculture, but also other related ministries like Ministry of Health, including also Ministry of Finance, because the idea is also to look at contributions from all different stakeholders.
The program will cost a total of $19 billion and is being implemented in 3 other countries of Somalia, Ethiopia and South Sudan, targeting 34 million people. Kasicha Namasha, Easy Friday.
All right, then now President William Ruto joined other heads of state and government in the inauguration of Namibia's first female president, Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah. Previously, the vice president, Nandi-Ndaitwah, secured 58% of the vote in the November elections, which were extended several times after logistical failures led to major delays. President Ruto says Kenya looks forward to working closely with Namibia to further deepen the strong bilateral ties for the mutual benefit of the 2 nations.
President William Ruto left the country on Thursday evening for Namibia to attend the historic inauguration of President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah. Nandi-Ndaitwah becomes the first Namibia female president. The inauguration also coincided with the country's 35th independence anniversary celebrations. With a track record in public service, leadership and liberation struggle, President Ruto expressed confidence that the former vice president will inspire progress and prosperity. President Ruto saying Kenya looks forward to working closely with President Nandi-Ndaitwah and the government of Namibia to further deepen the existing strong bilateral ties for the mutual benefit of the 2 nations and peoples. Other heads of state and government present at the colorful ceremony were President Samia Suluhu of Tanzania, Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, Emerson Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe, Joao Lourenco of Angola, Felix Tshisekedi of DRC Congo, Hakainde Hichilema of Zambia, and Duma Bok of Botswana, Daniel Chap of Mozambique, and Brahim Gali of Sarawi, among other leaders. Give us in mind, Easy Friday.
All right, then now a section of youth under the umbrella of Kenya Youth Movement and Kenya Youth Organization have expressed gratitude following the appointment of one of their own, Fikirini Jacobs from Kilifi County, to the position of Principal Secretary. Addressing the press in separate events in Nairobi, led by Chairman Ken Koech and President John Makababu, respectively, the youth said the appointment of Fikirini to the position of PS4 Youth Affairs and Sports by President William Ruto is a sign of hope for the youth. The youth also hailed the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs for showing commitment to organizing the upcoming national youth elections.
Is to address on a push by KYM to ask the ministry to conduct the election soonest, so that we can avoid some confusion among the youthful generation.
Equally, we are looking forward towards ensuring that we work with the Fikirini Jacobs in bettering the lives of our youths. Fikirini Jacobs have served as the president of the student in Kenya, in the university. We know his capability. We know he's going to bring changes in impacting the lives of our youths in this nation.
Tumeona media tofauti tofauti na wazee tofauti tofauti wakipigia Bwana Charles Nyachae wakimpigia wakisema yeye ndiye anafaa kuwa chairman wa IBC. Bwana President, nakuambia hivi. Kwa hiyo katika selection panel ambayo inafanyika pale, ambayo iko pale Council, ambayo interview inaanza Monday, Bwana Chairman, sisi tunasema kama vijana tutatoka nje. Ukwela.
We had over 200 applicants, young people who applied. Unfortunately, none of them was shortlisted. And that's why we called upon the selection panel led by Dr. Makanda to reconsider including those young people in that list.
All right, then now the Deputy Chief of Staff, Performance and Delivery Management in the Executive Office of the President, Eliud Owalo, has hailed the Maragua Ridge Irrigation Project as a pivotal development for the farming community in Murang'a County. Speaking during an inspection tour of key national projects in the area, Owalo said the farmers just need to be well organized to receive the necessary government support.
The Deputy Chief of Staff, Performance and Delivery Management in the Executive Office of the President, Eliud Owalo, was in Murang'a County for an inspection tour of key national projects. One of the projects he toured is Maragua Ridge Irrigation Project, which he termed as a game changer.
From them that this place is traditionally very dry, and now with this irrigation project, they are able to undertake various farm activities. This one here is a pawpaw farm. They have here 1,000 seedlings of pawpaw. Now pawpaw trees, 1,000. They are doing mangoes, they are doing fruit. We are just from the other farm where they are doing cabbages.
The 312 million shilling project, which is now 90% complete, has already created 12,700 job opportunities and is poised to transform the livelihoods of 848 farmers across 400 acres in Kamaua location, Maragua constituency.
If these people are well organized and they get the support they require from the government by way of extension services and also linkage to market, then we cannot go wrong. We are going to have money revolving at the grassroots.
Owalo also inspected the 1.8 billion shilling Makuyu Affordable Housing Project. The Affordable Housing Program aims to build 764 housing units and address the growing demand for affordable housing while also creating job opportunities for local youth.
Na vijana hawana kazi. Na vijana wakipata hii kazi hapa, wataweza kulea familia zao, wataenda kujimudu kimaisha. Kwa hivyo sisi tunafurahia hii mradi.
Tilio Marco for Easy Friday.
And it is with deep sorrow that we share this sad news of the untimely death of our colleague, Fredrick Parsayo. Parsayo met his death in unclear circumstances at his residence in the Kino area this morning. The matter reported at Kino police station is under investigation. Well, until his demise, Parsayo worked at the editorial department as a news reporter. His last day at work was Thursday, yesterday, the 20th day of March. The Kenya Broadcasting Corporation fraternity, led by Managing Director Agnes Kaleche, has extended condolences to Parsayo's family, friends, and colleagues.
Kenya Broadcasting Corporation fraternity on Friday morning was struck with shocking news of the passing on of Fredrick Parsayo, who served as news reporter in the editorial department. Parsayo had reported to work on Thursday. He died under unclear circumstances on Friday in Kino. The incident was reported at Kino police station and is still under investigation. The University of Nairobi graduate began his career at KBC and had worked as a general news reporter for 2 years.
Messages of concern and parenting have been channeled out to parents out there, and indeed it is a happy World Father's Day. Parsayo Fredrick reporting for Sunday Express, Nairobi.
The Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, led by Managing Director Agnes Kaleche, has mourned the deceased as a valued member of the newsroom, saying his loss will be deeply felt by those who knew him and worked with him. On behalf of the KBC fraternity, the Managing Director has extended condolences to the family, friends and colleagues of Fredrick Parsayo. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
All a budding young talent, such a huge loss. Our prayers are with the family of Parsayo, even as we mourn his death right here at KBC. Moving on with the news tonight, Migori County is set to benefit from a solar-powered fish dryer to reduce post-harvest losses of silver cyprinid, locally known as omena. Statistics by the Lake Victoria Fisheries organization indicate that 14% of omena caught annually in Lake Victoria, which spans through Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, is wasted due to inadequate preservation methods.
The 40 million shillings project will be located at Suri Beach in Nyatike Sub-County, Migori County. After a meeting with Migori Governor Chilo Ayako, Lake Victoria Fisheries Organization Project Coordinator Robert Kayanda highlighted that the initiative is aimed at benefiting the fishermen and women working with silver cyprinid at Suri Beach.
So with the introduction of this dryer, so we will be able to save a lot of it, and not only saving it, but we will also increase the amount that is going into human consumption.
In addition to the solar-powered drying machine, Kayanda revealed that the Lake Victoria Fisheries Organization will distribute solar-powered lamps to the fishermen, further supporting their work. Governor Chilo Ayako lauded the project, noting it will help mitigate the losses faced by the fishermen who have struggled with inadequate drying facilities.
This project adds a different and a much needed kind of value to the omena industry.
Sisi tukitoa omena baharini tunafunika na tunangoja jua. Kama jua kona, omena inaharibika.
Na kwa sasa tumepata mafunzo vile tutaanika omena yetu ili itafute soko nje ya nchi.
The project, funded by the International Fund for Agriculture Development (IFAD), also includes training for fishermen on proper fish handling to ensure market standards are met, and a digital platform, eFisher, to assist fishermen access essential services and improve market opportunities for their catch. Mariambo reporting for Easy Friday.
All right, then we are taking our first breather right here on Easy Friday. We have still more news coming up, business later, sports as well. And we have a special interview later towards the end of the bulletin where we have a one-on-one with the Deputy Chief Registrar of the Judiciary. That's Honorable Paul Minor. That's the Deputy Chief Registrar of the Judiciary. You need to look out for that interview a bit later. We'll be back in a moment.
Town Express! Twende bwana, town! Watu ya town, twende. Kalia hapo nyuma, kalia. Bado haijajaa, dere, watu wengine 7.
Kwani wazako si ungekulia kweli? Sasa umetoka wapi? Mimi sitaki mahindi leo.
Wewe unanishia mkate.
Siagusi mkate fubi.
Wewe ongea bado usiguze mkate yangu.
Usishike hivi. Wazako wapi kulia uko mbali na mimi? Sisi nakulamiwa ni wewe.
Donda, gari imejana bado unasema watu waingie. Tuambie ndare hapo apunguze wimbo. Niongee na timu hapa.
Hakuna volume inapunguzwa hapa. Kama unataka kuendesha gari yako, enda dial *570# option ya 3. Watu wanaendesha magari hapa nje na wewe bado unapiga nyenyenye kwa matatu.
Option 3,
unalipa ama unasuka?
Comfort yako iko kwa *570# option 3. Master Genio moja safi, reliable, modern safety and security features. Cheza mara kadhaa ujaze entry ticket zako kwenye draw ili uimarishe uwezo wa kushinda. Mshindi tunamtangaza 27th of April na gari tutakufikishia.
Omega unaenda ama wewe? Mimi sindi na Madrid, nishainuka na *570#.
Inuka na Genio kwa *570# option 3.
Asante.
We heard you. Tax amnesty is back. Kenya Revenue Authority is giving 100% relief on interest, penalties and fines for tax debts incurred up to 31st December 2023. Don't miss out. Take action now by settling your outstanding tax debt through easy-to-pay installments by 30th June 2025 and watch those penalties and fines for tax debts disappear. It's now or never to set your tax records right. Take advantage of the tax amnesty today. Terms and conditions apply. Kenya Revenue Authority. Tulipe ushuru tujitegemee.
Hello, fabulous ladies. Welcome to the talk show that's all about sisterhood, empowerment, and unfiltered conversation. We will be focusing on women. We believe in women.
We are really changing.
We are creating a safe space for women to connect, thrive, and share.
Just because you're a woman on a bike, you're labeled in a certain way.
It's not just a talk show, it's a movement.
When they're standing, we need to stand out.
From heartwarming tales to hilarious adventures.
They could ask me, Catherine, why are you learning?
We are turning the spotlight on women who are breaking barriers in their individual fields.
You have to have a vision.
You are the leaders of Kenya today.
Keeping it honest and relatable.
Mental health is real.
Yes.
Where there is no communication, there is no relationship.
Join the sisterhood every Sunday at 4 p.m. on KBC TV for Dada's Show.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Fasting with diabetes requires special care. Be sure to regularly monitor your blood sugar levels and consult your doctor to ensure that fasting is safe for you. If you frequently experience hyperglycemia, meaning high blood sugar, or hypoglycemia, meaning low blood sugar, it is best for you not to fast. Additionally, if you start feeling weak or dizzy, it is safer for you to break your fast immediately. At suhoor, it is best to choose complex carbohydrates such as whole grains, oats, and brown rice, along with lean proteins such as fish, plain yogurt, beans, and lentils to ensure your energy remains steady throughout the day. Ramadan is about prioritizing your health.
Right, a warm welcome back to Easy Friday. Let's speak politics now, where Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndende Nyoro has called on the Judiciary to review how bursaries issued by members of Parliament are being distributed. Speaking in Weruha, Taita Taveta County, Ndende stated that many parents rely on bursaries provided by MPs, and halting their issuance would disrupt students' education.
Speaking in Undanyi constituency, Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro implored on Judiciary to review the distribution of bursaries, calling for the involvement of county governments in uplifting the education of children from poor backgrounds.
There is a case in court, ambayo inasema ya kwamba NGCDF ifutiliwe bali. Mimi naona ikifutiliwa bali, mwenye kuumia sana haswa itakuwa ni wazazi na wanafunzi ambao wanafaidika katika bursaries ambayo ni ya NGCDF.
Undanyi MP Dan Mashako, who hosted Ndindi Nyoro, defended the performance of the former chairperson of the National Assembly Budget and Appropriations Committee.
Yani, it pains me kumuita immediate former. Manake huyu bwana hakukosea mtu kutolewa mwenyekiti wa budget. Lakini kwa hekima ama kwa kukosa hekima ya watu fulani wakaamua kumtoa kuwa mwenyekiti. Na sababu moja ni rahisi tu, nyota yake inang'aa. Nyota yake inang'aa.
Moshako also criticized the security department for failing to attend the opening of Deputy Commissioner's office, saying it was inappropriate.
Mambo haya nimesema tumeyafanyia research kwa undani sana. Haya mambo si mageni Kenya. Yanafanyika mahali. Yanafanyika wapi wenye wanajua? Kiharu constituency.
His sentiments were echoed by nominated MCA Peter Shambi, saying Ndindi Nyoro's political star continues to shine despite the intimidations.
Tunajua kwamba ulijengea administration ofisi, lakini watu wenyewe ambao walikuwa wanahusika wa ile ofisi walikatazwa wasije. Mimi yangu nitakwambia ndugu Nyoro, kanyaga hapo hapo.
Ndindi, however, did not comment on the matter and instead focused on issues related to education and bursaries for students. Gishoki Washira, Easy Friday.
Right now, the National Lands Commission has issued a 2-week ultimatum to Meru County government to provide a comprehensive report regarding a contentious 10-acre parcel of public land located within a 240-acre flower farm in Timau. The Gusishi community and the Tima flower farm reportedly reached an agreement to exchange the disputed 10 acres, originally intended for a learning institution, for an alternative site away from the flower farm. This decision was made to protect students from potential health risks from chemicals used in flower farming. Meru County, however, maintains that any negotiations on the disputed land must involve the new governor, as any agreement signed prior is now invalid.
To the conclusion that the community would like to have a productive use of the land, and even if it was to be used as a nursery school, they would not be able to have it next to the use which is next to them, and that is the use for flowers, because there's a lot of pesticide which is involved, which can be dangerous for the children.
Mwanzo ikigawanywa, watu ya county hao ndio wataanza kungrabu kwanza, watajigawia kwanza, na tukajiuliza tukiwa community ni wangapi watapata hizo plots, tukakuta hakuna. Ndio tukasema hapana, hiyo eka 10 tunataka iwe ni mahali ambayo watoto wetu wataenjoy masomo, TVET ama polytechnic.
Si watu wa kawaida ndio tunasema what we want to do with that land. Na nimesema hata sisi yako ama akuje mwingine, tutapeleka maoni yetu and we decide what we want to use, how we want to use our land.
All right, now a middle-aged man has been sentenced to 30 years in prison by a Garissa High Court after he was found guilty of the murder of his employer in May 2023 in Mandera County. This and other stories in our county news roundup.
While delivering the ruling, the Garissa High Court Judge Justice John Onyego found Anthony Murithi Nyaga guilty of the murder of Hassan Salat Mohammed and burying the body in a shallow grave where he was working at a quarry site in Mandera.
Same shall be served less 1 year and 9 months period spent in remand custody.
Fuatilia hii kesi kwa miaka miwili sasa, hatuwezi rudisha uhai ndugu yetu, lakini angalau kupata chepe la justice kidogo, angalau tunapata imani kidogo.
And Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe has called on senior ministry officials and semi-autonomous agencies to harness modern technology in a bid to boost food security and revitalize Kenya's agricultural sector.
The idea is to use technology to create transparency and accountability, but also to help our farmers. For example, in soil analysis, if we are able to use technology and analyze their soils, we can then advise them about what crops they should be planting. We can advise them what fertilizers they should be using. Because we have a situation where we are giving them subsidized fertilizers, but they could be damaging the soils even more.
In Kakamega County, HIV patients in the county have decried the lack of adequate medical attention when collecting their antiretroviral drugs after the termination of US aid support, which has led to the dismissal of healthcare workers.
Unapata mtu anaishi na ugonjwa wa kansa ama amepooza. Anaenda hospitali fulani anaambiwa dawa haziko, inabidi aanze kuhangaika. Kwa hivyo kwa saizi kuna shida sana na sana sasa mambo ya SHA na SHI inachanganya.
In Kericho County, Cape Kelion East Member of Parliament Joseph Cherorot has urged residents of the constituency to embrace unity irrespective of political developments.
Hii siasa ya online, hii siasa ya kuleta magawanyiko katika nchi, trying to bring tribal blocks in our country, that one we cannot encourage.
In Laikipia County, environmentalists are calling for concerted efforts among stakeholders and locals to increase the county's forest cover. They are blaming on destruction of forests by locals as a challenge to environmental restoration.
Tukipanda miti zote ndio tutaweza kufikisha hii, na ndio hali ya anga itarundi ile ilikuwa zamani. Maji mingi, chakula mingi, magonjwa kidogo. Sasa hizo ukiangalia magonjwa ni mingi sana.
Meanwhile, a section of traders operating in Nanak House in Nairobi Central Business District fear their properties will be seized for alleged failure to pay rent.
She has been threatening us. She switches off the power. She doesn't give us water. She doesn't collect rent. All the time threatening that she wants us out, whereas we've been paying her rent.
Been harassed since last year by this new landlady, demanding rent and threatening all the time. Just been tired. I don't understand why.
In Kisii County, a family in Bomachoge, Borabu is demanding justice for their kin who passed on at a public health facility where she had gone to deliver. They're accusing the healthcare workers of arrogance and negligence.
Kijana ana nyumba, huyu mama ana chochote kwa nyumba, ndio sababu hata wamekaa hapa Nyangusu. So naomba serikali kupitia county government ya Kisii na national government, msaada yote tu mtusaidie mwezavyo tukiandaa kupanga hii mambo ya mazizi.
This one case I've said that we are going to handle, get to know and to get to the root of the matter. What caused the death.
Martini Maslin for Easy Friday.
All right, then, business is coming up in not too long, but one of the highlights of Easy Friday is these savage netizens. And have you heard of the phrase, go big or go home? Well, this week, going home prevailed because exiting the office seems to have been the trend after Kawira Mwangaza and some government officials were asked to step aside. And there were so many captions across the social media. This left the savage netizens making all sorts of analysis online. One that stood out for me was Mwangaza's light dimmed and a whole lot more. Just you need to watch the savage netizens next.
Apparently for the netizens, when it's time to step out, you gotta go. So who stepped out this week? Let's find out.
This seems to be the week where some people was shown the door.
Get out! Toka nje! Toka nje!
The storm that was brewing in Meru County seems to have finally poured over, dimming Governor Kawira Mwangaza's political career. Her exposure of her husband Murega Baichu to the public during her reign came haunting her during this misfortune.
Kawira, mama, Kawira, Governor ni mama, Meru County, Governor ni mama.
My lord, I wonder.
Netizens twisted it into a modern Titanic love story between her and Baichu, the man with a guitar who appeared to have always been by her corner. Would you choose your man's or your job?
Niyo tu job. Ni job.
Lingana na mimi sina maoni.
Yeah, fine love, guys. But Mwangaza was not the only one whose light was dimmed. Someone else was about to eat the humble pie too. At times, social media power seems frail, intangible, and unreal, but you dare the savage netizens, and you shall for sure feel their wrath. And so this man slowly but surely became unpopular in the media industry.
Nataka muniombe. I'm going through a lot of problems.
But as the week drew to a close, the shelving of mathematics in the academic pathways was not a topic netizens would shelve.
Sasa 120 toa 50, imebaki gapi? Si unijibu. Ama mtaka tupigane sasa hivi?
So how do netizens anticipate life would be without the subject?
50 plus 1 is 51, right? Wrong. Just ask a Kenyan cop.
Kadi ile tuko naye hapa ni kama 50 police officers including me, it is about 70.
Unajua nimetembea place inatoshanaje?
Aje?
35 hectares na 2 inches kutoka shule hadi hapa.
What?
Guess what? Leo tumekula chapo ngapi?
Ngapi?
Hizo 2.
Well, whether the subject gets dropped or not, that remains a topic for discussion.
Hapa ni wapi? Mwalimu wa math ulisema siwezi enda mbali. Hapa ni wapi?
For now, how about we indulge in this week's banger?
Mimi nataka tu mugale, malisabi, akona bota. Na najua kupigana. Tena shamba analima. Mwenye atanitanga baby, my Annie, my miwa.
Well, that's it for us. Catch you next week on Savage Netizens. For Easy Friday, I am Teresa Mutai.
Mwenye atanitanga baby, my Annie, my miwa.
Mimi
ni Mkale Mkikuyu.
Mimi mamangu ni Mluhya.
Two religions.
Wanaenda msikiti ama wanaenda church? Wanaenda kanisa.
Lakini mimi nikienda mufti naenda
One heart, one soul.
Tulipatana kama yeye ni msupa. Unajua kitu mzuri kipita lazima uangalie.
Who makes the best dishes?
Nisema tu watamvuta tu pole wane kama anaweza deliver kwa ni Mkristo.
Wewe una plan convert?
Hapana.
Kabisa?
Huyu. Baadhi
Gifted me a precious gift that I treasure till today.
Na akaichukua.
Wanaosema tutawachana, sidanganyi watangoja sana. Yetu si ya Konde Boy na Kajala.
Kazi yake ni kukaa tu, labda akae tu hapo akuangalilie kitu kama amekaa tu. Hakuna kazi yenye inaweza kukusaidia.
Pole sana. I know it's not easy. It's not easy.
Saini tulipo. Kuna wakati kuna season yenye ni violent. Yenye anapika watu. Hata watoto. Hata nini. Saini at least. Hata usiku ndio ilikuwa akitoroka usiku. Tukaona ya kwamba hili to save tu yeye, tuweke kamba, tumene itu kwa milango.
She ran from the well with rivers of living waters gushing out of her belly. She ran back to the well with a multitude. Come and see the man.
Realities of business, poetry, and how to navigate through life, even in the city and also in the urban settings of the city.
The reason people are out there in the clubs and doing all kinds of things is because they're trying to fill the void that is God's space. And until you find him and let him take his rightful position in your life, you will keep searching.
Thank you for staying with Easy Friday. Time for the latest in the world of business. My name is Betty Kiptum. A guarantee scheme is being rolled out to entice financial institutions to increase funding for irrigation infrastructure, especially those targeting smallholder farmers. Water and Irrigation Cabinet Secretary Eric Muga says the initiative targets to help more smallholder farmers access capital to purchase irrigation equipment and other farm inputs.
Irrigation Investment 10-year strategic plan targets to increase acreage under irrigation from 712,000 acres to 1.7 million acres through public-private partnership. Under the irrigation strategy, the government plans to raise 61% of the 598 billion shillings through the private sector. Water and Irrigation Cabinet Secretary Eric Muga says a guarantee scheme will be established to assist lenders advance affordable credit to small-scale farmers producing through irrigation.
It's farmer-led. The farmer is the sole proprietor. But now the farmer will require loans. 50% private party and also government doing the role of capacity building.
The guarantee scheme is expected to expand lenders' agriculture loan books from the current 5% to 30%.
Shows that it can work if private public partnerships find together and look into the sector, invest into the sector, that this can be profitable for all sides.
The irrigation strategy also targets to boost double cropping in key irrigation schemes in a bid to reduce the country's food import bill.
Grow our investment from 747,000 acres under irrigation to an addition of 1 million acres in the next 10 years.
Experts want the irrigation strategy to incorporate market linkages to farmers to reduce post-harvest losses.
A businessman that is importing rice, 30% of the rice you put on the market must be bought from local farmers. Before you get an import permit, you must buy 30%.
Benson Rioba reporting for Easy Friday.
And experts are calling for the adoption of full disclosure of financial statements, liquidity ratios and non-performing loans by Kenya's SACCO Societies Regulatory Authority, saying it is critical to fostering a transparent, stable and trustworthy financial cooperative sector. Sam Omukoko, the founder of Metropole Credit Reference Bureau, says full disclosure would ensure early identification of struggling SACCOs, preventing systemic crises that could destabilize the sector.
In February, the government directed 247 savings and credit cooperative societies
to reduce dividend payout and allocate funds to mitigate potential losses linked to the 13.3 billion shillings fraud at the Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperative.
When we have a better credit market, we will have low default rates. When we have low default rates, it means the risk premiums will come down. When risk premiums come down, we will have low interest rate regime in the country, not just in the SACCO.
Experts opine to avert further losses, SACCOs and their regulator SASRA should leverage Credit Reference Bureau's reports for informed lending decisions through improving credit risk assessment with risk scores and real-time risk assessment and scoring.
We are encouraging SACCOs to do full file sharing and give us all that data. It is in the interest of the SACCO member that that data comes to the Bureau, goes into the scoring and gets them a better credit score.
They further decried the reluctance by SACCOs to adopt full disclosure, making them vulnerable to embezzlement, insider lending or conflicts of interest.
Since that 2014 when those amendments were made to have that party provision, today we are seeing nearly 800 SACCOs are providing. But even then, it's not adequate when you look at the loan accounts, barely about under 5 million. Given the loan portfolio we have, it's like approaching, 800, over 800 billion, and these are households and SMEs. So you'd expect accounts to be in millions, hundreds of millions, but we are only seeing less than 10 million.
SASRA Chief Executive Officer Peter Njuguna has lauded the creation of a SACCO shared service framework aimed at enabling financial institutions pool resources, adopt financial technology solutions, and enhance collaboration while maintaining operational autonomy. Regina Manyara reporting for Easy Friday.
And Food and Agriculture Organization is calling on counties to devise innovative ways to provide extension services to farmers in order to prevent post-harvest losses. According to FAO, Kenya loses at least 30% of farm produce through post-harvest waste, thus threatening the country's food security. The remarks come even as Food and Agriculture Organization, together with the Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute, that is KIRDI, jointly trained and graduated some 20 micro, small and medium enterprises in Kisumu on innovative ways to avoid food waste and food loss through sustainable value addition practices. The 20 ventures are expected to cascade the newly acquired technical knowledge to their peers across various value chains.
Value chains, like I think dairy value chain is a very critical value chain. Fish value chain is critical.
And extension is key, and I'm calling upon especially the county governments that they must actually now employ and deploy and put more resources on the area of extension. They don't have to make it traditional the way it used to be. There are also very innovative ways of doing extension nowadays. All we are crying for is that we are ready to support, work with them together to make sure that information is moved from the laboratory to the farm where it is needed in an adequate, timely, and on a very efficient manner. And this is the only way that farmers will be empowered and will be able to help in the production.
We transform the waste that comes also from the markets into enterprises that will add more income for our traders, and also conserving the environment at the same time.
Our second prize goes to organic fields.
And that story from Kisumu brings us to a close of business news this evening. We are keeping it easy on Easy Friday. My name is Betty Kiptum. Daniel Wahome is coming up with the latest in the world of sports. Have yourself a good night. Bye-bye.
Inuka na loto moto sasa kwa star 570 hash option ya 4 kuna kashamba juja na nika 50 by 100 worth 1.7 million Kenyan shillings. Na hii si shamba tu, iko kwa prime location few minutes from Juja Town. Stima yako iko ndani, na kama ni development rapid and so promising. Na mambo ya landlord mwisho wa mwanzo ni hapa. Ukishinda hili shamba tunakuongeza 1 million Kenyan shillings ujijengee nyumba yako kwa shamba yako. Kuinuka na Loto Moto ni kucheza sasa hivi kupitia *570# option ya 4 au register deposit na ucheze sasa hivi kwa www.tushinde.com na ujishindie shamba hili na addition of 1 million Kenyan shillings. Inuka na Loto Moto.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tutajifunza kuhusu ukuzi wa cricket. Kisha tuangazie kilimo cha black soldier fly, yaani inzi chuma.
Mimi hulea BSF. Wadudu wenyewe ndio hawa. Huwa nawalisha avocado, machungwa, nyanya na hata melon.
Usikose kujumuika nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 upate uhondo kamili.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. The national soccer team, the Harambee Stars, have jetted back into the country from Cote d'Ivoire after a 3-all draw with the Gambia in a thrilling 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier match played in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. The Stars now shift focus to their next match, where they play Gabon at home on Sunday, seeking a win to keep their World Cup dreams alive. Remember that this match is going to be live on KBC Channel 1.
According to Harambee Stars tactician Benny McCarthy, the players are in high spirits and believe that they will bagel 3 points against Gabon on Sunday.
I'm immensely proud of the players because they showed spirit, they showed a lot of unity, togetherness, and a family already. And we've only been together for 3 days.
His words were echoed by the team captain, Michael Lunga, who called on the fans to show up in large numbers at the Nyayo National Stadium to support the national team.
Coming from 2 goals down and then 3-2 and fighting until the last minute to get the equalizer, it shows that the team character was good and the team spirit was good. This is what the coach had told us and instilled in us, that each and every player is important.
They did well. They fought. We saw what they did in the pitch, and I think we have a good team.
In yesterday's match, Stars played to a 3-3 draw with Gambia.
To be honest, I can't really remember, but I think I'll just say it's instinct. Yeah, it's just instinct.
Kenya is currently 4th in Group F with 6 points, while Gambia is 5th with 4 points. The match between Kenya and Gabon will be beamed live on KBC Channel 1.
Now, World Rally Championship leader Toyota's Elvin Evans led the WRC Safari Rally after day 2 of the championship in Naivasha. Elvin topped the standings with a cumulative time of 2 hours, 2 minutes, 0.45 seconds. Evans won the Kidong and geothermal stages to sew up the win as his Toyota finished second in 7 seconds adrift. Overnight lead stormed to 4 stage wins and had appeared unstoppable, suffered a drive shaft failure which left his Hyundai i20 and Rally 1 car with only rear-wheel drive. The Estonian lost 55.4 seconds, allowing Toyota to take the lead. Tanak finished the day in 3rd position, 55 seconds behind. Tomorrow, the drivers will tackle a total of 146 kilometers with 6 stages: Sleeping Warrior, Elementaita, and Soy Sambu. And here's the story. Elementaita, or 1 and 2, will be live on KBC Channel 1 at 9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. Now, hundreds of rally fans thronged the Kidong spectator stage as the WRC Safari Rally entered day 2 in Naivasha as a tradition day event since it returned to the WRC calendar 4 years ago and has proved immensely popular, drawing in enthusiasts and even traders alike. Our reporter Bana Rukumu was at Kidong, Naivasha, and filed the following report.
Kidong, one of the 4 stages run on Friday, provided a perfect opportunity to rally spectators who wanted to get close to the rally action. in a bid to have a perfect view for the cars that passed by in supersonic speed. Some were perched on top of their cars, watching from a distance, while others chose closer vantage points, soaking in all the dust from the abrasive roads.
Tumekuja na mashabiki kuja kushangilia madriver. Kuna Kenya, kuna Paul Nishegu, kuna Karel Wanpela na kuna wegi na tunafurahishwa sana.
Tuna support Minesh Rathod. He's our driver there. Tunamsupport. We are rooting for him. Tunamwombea sana a win.
Hapa leo ni hao wanaenjoy na bado watu wanaenjoy kuwaona. Yani wamekuja kuona safari rally waenjoy na bado watu wameona safari rally wakiwaona pia wanaenjoy.
Several businesses were also booming, from food and beverage vendors to helicopter transportation. It looked like a good day for those who wanted to make an extra coin.
I'm here to support everything that is happening over here, and besides that, tuko na stand yetu yenye tunauzanga fresh juices, tunauzanga cocktails, tunauzanga smoothies and everything. We have to promote our work. The fans will be all over. They will have to experience whatever. We have like good experiences. They love the rally, they love the after party.
Nimekuja safari rally kuenjoy kidogo, manze pia na kupush stock kidogo, manze kaa kijana anafaa kujinua kidogo. Ndio economy at least isitufinye sana.
Alongside Kidong, drivers also took on the rocky Camp Moran, the lush green landscaped Loldia and geothermal. Kidong spectator stage provided an opportunity and a platform for rally fans to come and cheer on the favorite rally drivers, as well as for some, it was an opportunity to make that extra coin, which they hope and of course expressed their gratitude, and also said that the business was booming, albeit slowly, but they were hopeful that at the end of the day, they'll have made little sales for themselves. Reporting for Channel 1 Sports from Kidong, Naivasha, Nakuru County, I'm Bernard Okumu.
Thank you, Bernard, for that story. Now, 3 drivers were main casualties of the day at the 2025 WRC Safari Rally Kenya, including 2 Kenyans, Akif Virani and Hamza Anwar. Akif is out of the rally, while Hamza may restart tomorrow.
But it's just given the crews a little bit more.
After the 4.76 kilometers Kasarani Super Special Stage and the 8.15 kilometers tricky Mzabibu Stage, 3 drivers were hit by the stage's challenges, including Kenyans Hamza Anwar and Akif Virani.
We're just following regulations. Yeah, he broke down and he could not repair the car on time. He had requested for Super Rally, meaning to start the following day. Unfortunately, he was not able to start, and you cannot have 2 consequent Super Rallies. So I think it will be difficult for him to restart.
Akif is out of the rally completely, as he will not be able to repair his car for a restart, while Hamza's mechanical team is working on his steering wheel, which forced him out of today's 8 stages, but may be able to restart tomorrow if he repairs the steering rack on time.
A lot, to be honest. I guess during the shakedown, the steering rack must have ingested some dust. And it was evident from Zabibu yesterday on SS2. Just 2 kilometers before the stage start, we lost power steering. So we got through the stage, battled it on. It's very tough with the electric rack not having power, any assist. So it's literally like pushing 100 kilos right, 100 kilos left. So unfortunately we lost out to that, but the boys are working on it now, and it wouldn't have been possible to get through the stages today the way they are without the power steering.
A total of 36 drivers began day 2 on Friday, ready to tackle the 4 stages run twice for a total of 8 stages, beginning with the 32.20 kilometers Camp Moran before heading to the 19.11 kilometers Loldia stage. The 13.12 kilometers geothermal was the 3rd stage on Friday, with Kedong's 15.10 kilometers making the 4th stage on Friday, with a repeat of the 4 stages also being done.
I look forward to Sleeping Warrior, Soisambu. These are stages that have finished top 10 stage times in a Rally 3 car, so I'm really looking forward to it in a Rally 2 car. Although my car is 12 years old, it's the oldest homologated car in the rally. We've done a lot of work on it, and it's rallying. Sometimes some things happen, lakini kama nuksi imepotea, tunashukuru. Kesho tutawekelea.
couple of drivers I spoke to, they said they enjoyed driving in Mzabibu. And it's only 8.1 kilometers, and you cannot compare it with the other stages that have got a lot of rockery and stuff, because this one, it's fairly smooth. It's only twisty and technical.
Jet A1, cheza aviator bila data bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Pepea bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Aviator bila data, aviator bila credo. Uko na kabambe, wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1, michezobets.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
Heavens have answered me.
Ruth, I have the powers to lock you away and change your life completely.
You know, you really need to work on your cold threats. As in itisha hata kidogo.
I want confessions today. Otherwise, afuate Njuguna.
Calm down. Why am I hearing my husband yell from the road? It was just a minor misunderstanding. Minor?
Ambia Millicent akiwa na haja sana na mimi. Anitafuta mwenyewe, she knows where to get me.
I am her representative.
I have not seen your assistant in a minute.
Ako na deni yako.
We meet again.
Again?
The race for the cherished FIFA World Cup 2026 slot is heating up.
Olunga, the captain, he plays the right ball inside. Good first touch.
They change the lines as Aubameyang gets in behind here. A great opportunity for Aubameyang, and it's off the post.
Lined up on match day 6, Group F is Kenya against Gabon on Sunday, 23rd March at 4 p.m. from Nyayo National Stadium.
Comes back into the air, and the keeper's come a long way off his line, and he's missed it. And that's the opener for Kenya.
With a new sheriff in town, don't miss this historic Africa qualified duel, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
So that's the sport for tonight, and we've got some good news for you on KBC Channel 1, because we've got 2 live stages for you, Elementaita 1 and Elementaita 2 at the WRC Safari Rally. Elementaita 1 is at 9:30 a.m. So let's see what the drivers are going to do, because this stage has been reversed for the WRC Safari Rally 2025, and the second run is at 4 p.m. So after game on, then it's a rally on. Then on Sunday, we're going to have Hell's Gate 1, that is at 9 a.m. And from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. it's going to be Hell's Gate 2. So how are these drivers going to do about Super Sunday? And remember, it is about the super special stage points. And remember, the Wolf Power stage points are going to come in. And after 3:30, 3:33, we start building up for that match between Kenya and Gabon. KBC Channel 1 is your true sports partner, and that's the reason, and that's why I'm giving it to you. John Kago. The old school feel.
All right, interesting to call it Kago, but you have downloaded most of that Kago in terms of news. But just before we wrap up, we're still in the holy month of Ramadan, and Kenya Broadcasting Corporation Managing Director Agnes Kaleche has pledged to mentor and elevate qualified Muslim professionals through development programs and inclusive hiring practices. Speaking during the Iftar celebration at the corporation, she thanked Muslim colleagues for their contribution and stressed the importance of inclusivity, kindness and fairness in the workplace.
At the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, in the spirit of sharing, non-Muslim and Muslim staff at the corporation joined together in the celebration of Iftar, an evening meal that Muslims take after breaking their fast in the holy month of Ramadan.
Since our brothers and sisters from the Muslim faith are having Ramadan, we thought of doing something, at least to just show that we We are brothers and sisters in this organization, and we work as a people. We collaborate. Everything we do it together. So we thought that we should organize an iftar just to appreciate each other.
Gracing the event, Managing Director at KBC, Agnes Kaleche, expressed gratitude for the opportunity to celebrate the spirit of community, reflection and generosity.
As we share this iftar, I am reminded of the dedication and resilience you demonstrate daily, balancing your work daily and spiritual commitment with the demands of your work. Your perseverance, especially while fasting, is a testament to your strength and faith.
She highlighted the significance of Ramadan as a time for cultivating gratitude, compassion and unity, and acknowledged the resilience of colleagues balancing spiritual commitments with work.
Tonight, I want to reaffirm our commitment to ensuring that the voices and talent of all of you, our Muslim brothers and sisters, are not only heard, but also actively reflected in our leadership. And we'll make a deliberate effort to identify, mentor, and elevate qualified Muslim professionals in our organization, and we'll start elevating them to management role. I want in the next few months to get somebody at senior leadership level at SMM from the Muslim community.
Tupende shirika na tupendane zote. Mungu awabariki na muguide katika hii mwezi mtukufu, na muombe shirika, familia zetu na nchi yetu.
As the saying goes, sharing is caring. We join the Muslim colleagues at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation to break their fast, marking the 21st day of Ramadan with just 9 days left in their holy month. Ramadan Kareem to all the Muslim faithfuls. Christine Matunda for KBC Channel 1.
All right, many thanks indeed. You're coming to the end of Easy Friday tonight after that report. In the next, about 25 minutes, DJ Cole Jax with Disco Funk. You don't want to miss that out. I'm a fan of that particular bit of Easy Friday. You need to look out for that as DJ Cole Jax takes you through that. But in that period, as I had mentioned earlier, we have a special interview coming up, conducted by our reporter, that's Abdiaziz Hashim, and the guest is Honorable Paul Ndemo Maina. Now, Paul Ndemo Maina is the Deputy Chief Registrar of the Judiciary. It's a one-on-one interview. You need to learn a whole lot more about the responsibilities, what's happening in the corridors of justice, and a whole lot more. So look out for that interview coming right up. On behalf of the team, my name is John Kago. Good night. So long. Keep watching.
Our discussion today is focusing on the bench. We want to look at how the judiciary is progressing since independence. And who better to take us through this particular conversation than the Deputy Registrar of the Judiciary, that is Honorable Paul Ndemo, who doubles up as the judiciary spokesperson as well. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Abdi.
And Mr. Paul, we can start on giving us the general outlook of how the judiciary is progressing so far. How is the judiciary faring on?
Well, let me start by saying, first of all, thank you very much for this opportunity for us to talk about the judiciary. You know that we have been on a trajectory of engaging with the public, trying to share what we are doing so that the public can get to appreciate. And I would piggyback that on the fact that the judiciary has actually been on a transformation journey. If you look at the post-2010 constitution, when we had the first Chief Justice come in, then post the promulgation, Justice Willie Mutunga, he set out on a transformation journey, which he called the Judiciary Transformation Framework. And we moved from there to Justice Maraga talking about sustaining judiciary transformation. And now we are looking at having a social transformation through access to justice under the current Chief Justice, Justice Martha Koome.
Given that you have given us an elaborative journey all the way to have reached here in the year 2025, I'm sure you have had hiccups along the way. Let's start with this year. We have witnessed, even in terms of accountability and transparency, ensuring that the judiciary is accountable to the taxpayers down there. The first thing we've witnessed is a lot of petitions that have been brought before the Judicial Service Commission, which is now a live matter active at the High Court, in regards to the Chief Justice and the bench itself of the Supreme Court. So why are we seeing these cases here and now?
Well, the specifically this particular case, as you rightly mentioned, and you appreciate the limitation that we have, the matters are live in court, and so we really can't go into the merits or otherwise of these particular cases. But then everybody has a right to go to court to enforce their rights. And so even given in the current scenario, the judges also have their right to go to court to be subjected to what they consider to be a fair process. And so the matters are in court, they're being handled there. In fact, some were just mentioned today. So the matters are ongoing, and within a short time, we'll get to see the outcome of those particular cases. But let me say that the judiciary is very open to accountability, very open to scrutiny, and so this should not be taken as a means of people fighting or the institution fighting, attempts to have it scrutinized. We are subject to parliamentary oversight by the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. We submit ourselves to the Parliamentary Accounts Committee. The Judicial Service Commission itself oversights what the judiciary does. But it is very important that we understand the importance of having an independent judiciary. And when you talk about independence, we're talking about decisional independence. And it is so critical to have that protected in any democracy to ensure that you have got a state where there is rule of law and where there is stability. If the question of the independence of the judiciary is not looked at carefully, then you jeopardize the entire state. So it is really, really important that it is safeguarded. And I have said time without number that because of the issue of decisional independence, and many people don't appreciate this, that the Chief Justice cannot pick up her phone and call a magistrate who was appointed yesterday and direct that magistrate to make a decision about a case one way or the other. Not even the Chief Justice. That is what we call decisional independence. And it runs right from the youngest, the newest magistrate, right to the top. So that is why within the Constitution, that very critical concept is protected. So if the Chief Justice internally cannot call a magistrate and tell them what to do, then it is expected in a democratic society that respects the rule of law, that seeks to ensure that we are adhering to the constitutional virtues and values, that interference really destroys that sense of independence, and it shouldn't be for the sake of the country.
Deputy Registrar, you've just brought up something that Kenyans have been talking about in terms of independency. There are talks out there that the judiciary is another appendage of another arm of the government. How true is that, and how independent are you?
It would be interesting to get something very specific, but I can tell you the judiciary is what you'd call an umpire or a referee. Many of us watch football. The job of the judiciary is to be an independent and an impartial referee. That is what we have done. When you look at the decisions that the judiciary has meted out over the last many years, they speak of an institution that is conducting its role knowing it is standing in a place of trust where it is meant to make a decision one way or the other. So some decisions, many decisions, have been made against other arms of government. And it is not for the sake of just making those decisions, no. It is because as an independent arbiter, you are supposed to make that decision. So when the facts come before a judge or a judicial officer, that judge or judicial officer will look at what do I have and what is the law. So if the evidence and the law is against an individual, then the court will find against that individual. If the law and the facts are against a government entity or another arm of government, then it behoves the judicial officer or the judge to find against that particular entity. And we have seen the court do that in many, many instances, that I could cite here. We have cases where the courts have made decisions against the Inspector General of Police, where matters have been brought to court. And it is not personal. This is the responsibility of a referee. A referee doesn't go into a football match saying, I am going to, at the end of this game, these people must have 2 and I must get nil for this team. Whatever happens, that's not the job of a referee.
Mm-hmm. And moving forward, given that you've just elaborated to us, you can't speak about the issues that are live in court. Maybe tell us the procedures. From the High Court, where are we likely to see these cases of the Supreme Court benches, judges reaching?
There's an appeal mechanism. The matters would be heard in court, and depending on the outcome of the cases, then either of the parties could then decide to move to the next level, which would then be the Court of Appeal. And obviously in the instant case, it would also be very awkward, because after the Court of Appeal, if you wanted to then appeal beyond that, then there is no Supreme Court that would be sitting. But the next level would obviously be the Court of Appeal, should any of the parties feel that they have been aggrieved or they want to advance their legal rights.
Maybe to a Kenyan who needs to understand, let's say, for example, it passes the Court of Appeal, it comes to the Supreme Court judges, and they're the ones who are being petitioned about. So where does that case go? To the East African Court, or does it go back?
Well, your guess is as good as mine. The case is supposed to go to the Supreme Court, but you cannot be a judge in your own cause. That's a principle in law. You cannot sit and decide in your conflict of interests. You cannot be a judge in your own matter. So obviously, then that would not be an option to go there. So let me not go into the merits or otherwise, but that would be a conundrum.
Okay. And progressing on well, the judiciary has been combating a vice known as corruption for years on end. We've seen the systems that the judiciary has put over the years, especially in coming up with digitalization of some of the court proceedings, on how you receive your funds as well, and some of the fines that are being paid. Maybe we'll start on that. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission just handed over a report to the CJ just a few weeks back, detailing where the issues are and how you can resolve them. Maybe bring us up to speed. What were some of those issues that were raised in that particular report, and as a judiciary, how have you addressed them?
Thank you for that question. First of all, it's good to clarify that it is the Honorable Chief Justice herself, when she came to office in 2021, who invited the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to come and do what we call a systems review. So just come and look at the systems that we have as the judiciary to be able to help us appreciate where do we have vulnerabilities that are susceptible to corruption, so that we can improve, because EACC have got that capacity. That is one of their mandates. So invite the experts to come and tell you, I think I am doing okay, but there may be 1 or 2 areas that I need to work on. So the Chief Justice invited EACC. They came, and we opened the whole place to them and told them, please, look, we've invited you, just go around and see. So they went and looked at some of our processes in the registries where cases are filed. They went and looked at, some of the regulations that are there in the procurements of the building services that we have, and some of the policies that we also have. And so in their recommendations, we needed to tighten some of the processes within the registry. Others, they recommended automation of services. Happily, there are things that we were already doing. It is not as though we were doing nothing when they came. There's a lot of things that were happening. So as they also gave their recommendations, those recommendations found us quite advanced in some of the areas we had started. So, for example, the development of policies, the development of manuals. How do you handle cases in the registry? How do you deal with, just different aspects of the law? When people come to the register, when people come to court, how do you handle those particular matters?
And of course, you've brought up something very important. Even the Chief Justice a few weeks back spoke about it once she received the report from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. In terms of, are there brokers in the judiciary, or is it the judges or the magistrates themselves who are those conduits of, who are either abetting or abetting corruption? So to that effect, are judges and magistrates susceptible to corruption? Because that is what Kenyans are asking.
That's a very interesting question. I think everybody is susceptible. Let me say that. But we have most of our judges and judicial officers, people are very serious about the work they do, the level of commitment, the dedication that we have, the oath that we have sworn is a very serious oath. And so many, by far the vast majority, are very dedicated and very committed to their oath. And so from that point, and actually from even the cases that are handled, you can tell, short of what I'm telling you about perception, there is a lot that is put in there to ensure that everything just, proceeds as is the case. But when you then have persons that you can't tell, are these judiciary staff, are these employees here, are these not, you tend to get mixed up. In that melee, you tend to get mixed up and people say, this is the judiciary. So I want to assure you that the judiciary is a very committed institution to issues of integrity. And it is very, very easy. If you have a judge or a judicial officer who is oriented in that direction, it will not take long before they are discovered. So for you to be in an institution where we have been serving justice for this long, and you have got, few cases, sprinklings here and there, then you can tell the dedication is there. But as I said, there are also things we are doing to ensure that we keep that high standard, because we are independent arbiters. We are supposed to be blind to any side, let the case come before you, decide it as a judge or a judicial officer in the best way that you understand according to the law and according to facts.
Deputy Registrar, the reason why I was asking you that particular question, we have seen the product, some will say, of the investigations, or rather, given that you had invited EACC here, they had singled out various courts, which even the Chief Justice herself admitted that there was several courts that were aiding and abetting corruption. And we witnessed what happened just the other day about the Thika magistrate, magistrate that was apprehended by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. We saw the judiciary coming in the retrospect of many people assuming now, given that one person from the judiciary, either magistrate or a judge, has been apprehended by another investigative body, they can be protected by the institution called the judiciary. Is that the case?
So first, let me just clarify that the courts where EACC is investigating, those cases are places where we ourselves got intelligence and we shared that with EACC. It is not places where EACC went and found that. We ourselves, because we also get intelligence from the ground, from our customers, our stakeholders, so we get to know. And where you know that there seems to be an issue in this station or the other, then because the arm that has got that, or the entity that has got that mandate and the capacity to be able to properly investigate and deal with the matter is EACC. So that is how we then, the Chief Justice said, we are working with EACC. And it is then to those, some of those stations where we said, check here and here and here and here. And that is, so EACC will handle that matter, have it taken to the DPP, decide on whether it meets the threshold, and then the matter will be taken to court. The court will not protect its own people. No. What is there is that there's process. And everybody has got a right to a fair process And so if an individual feels like there's something that is not right, this process was not properly conducted, then every single individual, an ordinary citizen, a public servant, a judicial officer, whoever you are, you've got a right to approach the court so that you can enforce the rights that are given to you in the Constitution. Being a judicial officer or a judge does not take rights away from you to say that because you are this now, you have got no avenue. If I feel aggrieved as an individual, whoever you are, you've got that access, and it's been given by the Constitution. In fact, Article 48 is very specific that the state should grant access to justice for all, everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. So the fact that someone goes to court does not then remove from the fact that that avenue is not available to them because of the position they hold.
And of course, given that you've also revealed to us that you're receiving intelligence reports on how the courts are progressing and how Kenyans are being dealt with, because you see, those are issues that Kenyans themselves were able to raise. Maybe give the public confidence on how you address them in those courts places where you clearly stated that those issues were being recorded. How did the judiciary deal with the officers, even if it was the judge, if it was the magistrate, or even the judicial officers around that particular precincts? So how did you deal with it?
So first of all, we have what we call the court users committees. These court users committees are committees that are formed at the level of the courts. And within those courts, we have got different players, what you'd call our stakeholders in the justice sector. So you'd have the prisons, you'd have the office of the DPP, you'd have the probation, you'd have law society and others. So a number of issues are actually many issues are actually dealt with at that local level. But then where sometimes matters, you may find maybe some matters are not clear. You hear this, you hear that, you are not very clear. It is where now we find we need to have an entity that really has the capacity, because each of these people have got a different mandate. They will not go and start investigating. So when we get feedback, maybe I should have called it feedback, not intelligence, but it's really the same thing. That's when now we have EACC, we are hearing things from some of our stakeholders in this particular situation. Could you go and just confirm that? And if it's a matter that requires EACC's intervention, then they will process it and they will deal with it. But there may be other smaller issues, infractions that we can handle, misconducts of a lower level. And those ones, we deal with them quite periodically, not necessarily related to corruption.
So you're telling Kenyans you have addressed those issues at those courts that were singled out by the CJ?
They are still being addressed. Yeah, some have been addressed, others are being addressed. Because, investigation is also, is not a one-day thing. It's a process. It takes time for you to, collect the evidence, for the investigators to establish what has been said here, get interviews, record statements. So that is a process that is ongoing in a number of those stations.
Now, moving back to our earlier conversation in terms of digitalization, which the judiciary has done over the years. Earlier on, just 3 months ago, we heard from one of your Supreme Court judges, that is Isaac Lenaola. He talked about an instance where we witnessed where the e-filing system of the judiciary went down. So how many times do you see these issues? What was the glitch? Because the judiciary, when it spoke back then, 3 months ago, he told us he will give us an extensive update on what exactly happened that particular day. So do you experience this normally, and how is it addressed?
Sometimes we have the normal downtimes, for the internet provision. There may be something that is happening across in the system. So that may happen once in a while. But we don't have it's not a very common feature to have, like the system down. We have really tried to protect our systems and to boost them so that we ensure that this is seamless. I mean, remember, we are having e-filing across the whole country. So this is a very, very big deal for us to ensure that our systems are protected, and we are working with the relevant agencies with the data and with the systems that we're operating.
With that in mind, Deputy Registrar, the reason why I was asking that, do you run your own system or is it run by another government institution?
Well, all government agencies have their systems run through government. So we are also subjected to another government agency that really runs the system.
Have there been attempts to hack your systems, and how has that affected your systems?
Well, I wouldn't say whether it is an attempt to hack or not, but when we've had some incidents, we have actually, in one particular case, we wrote to the Communication Authority just to, help us establish what exactly could have happened at that particular time. But as I said, it is a very rare occurrence in our systems.
And we've seen a keen relationship between the bench and some of the lawyers in the country. We've witnessed how sometimes it can be cordial, sometimes it cannot be cordial. The reason why I'm asking you this question is we have witnessed a ruling that was made, or a judgment for that matter, here at the Supreme Court, where the judges clearly stated that two lawyers, that is Nelson Harvey and Ahmed Nasir, cannot come there. If their clients are coming to the Supreme Court, they should be seeking the interventions of other lawyers. So maybe you can tell other lawyers who are out there, and Kenyans alike, want to seek services from the legal counsel. What laws were premised on this judgment, and in the future, how can it be made better?
Abdi would know that matter is live right now, not only here in Kenya, but even in the East African Court. So it's a matter that is still being prosecuted, and I would ask that I don't delve into the matter now.
Okay, thank you for that. And also, moving on swiftly, everybody is going to Parliament asking for their funds to fund the operations that we'll be using in the financial year. Maybe, given that in the judiciary we have witnessed so many instances where the current CJ as well as the former CJ have been clearly stating that they are underfunded, they require more funds for critical services for Kenyans alike. So how much money, for that matter, are you looking for, if you have just a rough idea, and which areas are we likely to see those funds being channeled to?
So we're seeking about 50 billion for the next financial year. The indication of what we have gotten is 26 billion. Initially it was actually 25, and then after some discussion it was enhanced to 26 billion, so by a billion. Now, it's important to just contextualize the issue of funding for the judiciary. The judiciary has had a historic underfunding challenge. If you look at, for instance, the courts that we have, most of the courts that we have, we inherited from our colonial masters. Most of them. The new courts that were built in the last, I would say, about 10 years, are courts that we got funding from the World Bank. These are courts that were done in, across the country in a number of places. When you look at the numbers I told you at the beginning, we had just about 47 judges and maybe 300 or 400, actually I think 300 magistrates, 400 magistrates at the promulgation of the Constitution. We are now 50 million. Our economy now is in the trillions. The funding has not moved together with the growth of the economy.
We've just talked about the working conditions of judges, magistrates, and the judicial officers who are within various parts of the country. The other concern that we have even witnessed judges and magistrates raising is their safety. We have not witnessed once or twice, even the Chief Justice herself, where security is withdrawn. Do you get adequate answers from the National Police Service, who are just your neighbors here? Do you get adequate answers on why the security of judges are withdrawn anyhowly? Do you receive substantive answers from the National Police Service?
Well, since the last incident that happened to the Chief Justice, we've had some engagements with the police, and I would say at the moment we are fine, and we hope that obviously that relationship continues, because it's very important that judges, judicial officers feel safe. We have been exposed to very serious incidents of insecurity from Makadara last year, very, very unfortunate. And that has really put to the test the resilience and just the commitment of judicial officers. When people have to go to work every day knowing that I am coming to serve and I might lose my life just simply because I've come to work, that's outrageous. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And so we are very hopeful that with the discussions we've had, with the commitment that was given by the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, that that matter really it should never recur again, not in a society like ours.
Mm-hmm. And maybe in your final remarks, we have seen the judiciary banking on public engagements. We have seen even judges of the Supreme Court going to give lessons to schools out there in the public and trainings being conducted. So what can we look forward to that aspect?
Yeah, we are very open. We are very open. I think we, for a long time, took the traditional approach that we speak through our pens as judges and judicial officers. But we've also realized that there's a lot of misunderstanding, misinformation, disinformation, And so we felt it's very important that we go to the ground. Let's interact with the people because we have nothing to hide. It's just the way the structures were previously. The legal profession for a long time has been a very conservative. We sit here, we do our work, we expect people to understand, but we realize that it's important for people to get to know what is it that we are doing as the judiciary, how are cases filed in court, who is responsible for what, who does what.
The judiciary has opened its doors. You want to bring your petition, you want to bring your case. If you want to hear any concerns that you may have with either of the judges or what you'd like to give us pointers on how the judiciary can better services to you as Kenyans, there you have it. They have an open door policy at the end of the day. The trainings and dialogues and lessons will be carried across the country. That concludes our conversation with the Deputy Registrar of the Judiciary, that is Mr. Paul Demo, who also doubles up as the judiciary spokesperson. For now, my name is Abdiaziz Ashim. Back to you in studio.
Kupitia star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this beautiful Mazda Demio. Enjoy a beautiful clean semi-leather interior, low mileage, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business. Ukitaka kujishindia gari hii, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option 3. And for only 35 shillings, hii gari inaweza kuwa yako. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Mungu ni mwema, asante Mungu. Ile nitakuwa naendesha hivi.
Dial star 570 hash and make this dream car yours.
Cheza Loto Moto.
The race for the cherished FIFA World Cup 2026 slot is heating up.
Olunga, the captain, he plays the right ball inside. Good first touch. They change the lines as Aubameyang gets in behind here. A great opportunity for Aubameyang and it's off the post.
Lined up on match day 6, Group F is Kenya against Gabon on Sunday, 23rd March at 4 p.m. from Nyayo National Stadium.
Pumped back into the air. The keeper's come a long way off his line and he's missed it. And that's the opener for Kenya.
With the new sheriff in town, don't miss this historic Africa qualifier duel live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true